Hi Mark, I'm here at the property we talked about this morning. I'll point out the four corners to you first and then just have some thoughts on the construction that we discussed, and then I'll walk down at the very end to the dock down there so you get a sense of that. So first of all, I'm standing on the concrete foundation of where my mom and stepdad had their spot, and they liked it just because of this really great up lake view that you see right there. The up lake property corner, if you look in the very distance, is past the dock, and there's kind of the remnants of an old diving board that the up lake neighbors built way back in the day, and that's the corner there. It runs up the hill on the far side of the rock outcropping to this stake. Let's see if I can get you there. Yes, there's a flag stake right there. And then from there, straight up, just in back of my truck, there's a stake that I've marked there. This property line was developed basically because there used to be a garage there for the neighboring property, and they just carved this piece off. So that property line was designed to, just come this side of the former garage. At the top, it goes past my truck, just to the left of the power pole. And the drop that you see there, it comes from that corner down at an angle to this corner right here, and then finally from that corner all the way down to the property corner. And I don't think I can see it from here, but basically it's just right down on the lakeside of this immediate tree that you see there. So those are the corners. Like you were pointing or picking up on, there is this large ravine through the middle of the property. You can see here some of the terrace work that my stepdad had done. As I see it, you would bring an automobile in and curve it once down into a driveway that would be, more or less right here into a garage. That's kind of my way of thinking of it. And then you could either, step down to a lower level or just kind of build out over the ravine at that garage level, and then obviously you would have a lower level as well. So let's just say your garage is right there, and then you could come down a floor somewhere in there. I don't think you're going to want to creep down the hill too much farther because you're going to be in that setback that we discussed. And I was just thinking that this corner of the property right here may have been kind of the relevant setback point that Bob, my stepdad, worked off of. Even though he didn't have a permit, I'm thinking that he still had to abide by setbacks. So it definitely, would be a great home. Nice views, both up and down the lake, depending on where you are and what you're doing in relationship to these trees on the property. Let me walk down to the waterfront. Hopefully this gives you a kind of a sense of this pitch down here. And from here down, it's just more kind of the same in terms of grade. Steps that he had a mason put in. And I mentioned it on the phone call, but you could imagine putting in a little short funicular as an example to go from the lower or upper level of the house, and this is a shot just back up the draw there, down to the water's edge. It's always easy coming down these stairs, but coming up you're gaining a little elevation. But you get down here and it's just this magical spot, or it was magical before the fire. I'll send you some pictures that kind of shows you, what it was like. But they came in and had Kelly Case do this dock. Got all the paperwork on that, and they also built this little swim area. So it's kind of a trap for some sand, and so you can stand out there during the high water days. And then they also did some stabilizing of the shoreline. The wave action has undermined a little bit of Bob's masonry, as you can see there. That's just kind of a constant battle, but it's something to keep in mind. And then he has his pump right over there, just a little In fact, the pump's still there. I don't know if it works or not, but he just pumped out of the lake and then straight up to a cistern that he had put up at the top, a poly cistern that supplied water for that little cabin I had mentioned. And then this is the dock. It's really quite nice. It's in need of a ceiling, but the wood's in good shape. You know, breathtaking kind of water experience, but of course you know that pretty well with your spot just up the lake. And then over on the corner here is the old diving board, and I put a flag out here earlier just showing that this is the corner of the property, and then it runs kind of right up that way. So these are old steps that the neighbors had put in years ago. Here's the remnants of their former house there, and like I say, I don't know what their plan is. It's the Colt family in Wenatchee, and took them several years just to get the place cleaned up. But the property line, in fact, you can see the stake up there, so I'll try and stand right on the property line. So yeah, so it's basically sighting right off of that, and it goes kind of right up there just to the left of these steps. So the nice thing is you kind of have this high point here that gives a little privacy from the neighbors in the future. So roughly walking right along the property line and looking across the ravine at the foundation where we were standing, and then down below where we were. But you know, if you could get this close, I don't have a tape on me, but if you could get this close, you know, then you've got this great down lake view as well. So definitely, excuse me, some options for an architect to consider. Okay, I'll call this a wrap.